Hey guys, it's Vince with Mastering the Method, and today we are going to clean the hot end of our extruder. We're also going to polish it as well. This extruder is the continuation of me actually doing the nozzle to this extruder, which is my lab's experimental extruder. The process is the same for whatever extruder you're working with your method. You can see right here, once again, I've only got a little bit of filament on the hot end, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, do not let this area of the extruder get coated and caked up with filament. I've said that in a previous video. It is horrible to see people doing that, and really it just shows lack of experience and laziness. I don't know what else to say. The cleaner this area is, and I like mine polished, it just looks nicer, is the fact that you're going to generate much better heat conduction, and over long term you'll have much better results and longevity on your extruder. So what I've got here is a Dremel tool with the flex shaft going to it, and I do have a stainless steel brush. This brush is round, it's not the other type of brush that I highlighted it in the previous video, and that would be this one. You can see the difference between the two. This is to clean the nozzle, and this is to clean the hot end. And I'm going to show you now how we're going to do it. Now, I don't recommend going past 10,000 RPM. You don't want these little bristles to come out. You want to use very low pressure. Grab your safety goggles because your eyes are much more important than your extruder. Set your RPM. I'm going to use the heat from this to carefully remove that filament, because many of you already know once this goes on there, it becomes like iron. And you can see it's gone. Gone. Just that fast. The other area I want you guys to, let me just turn this off. The other area I want you guys to pay close attention to is this line right here. You'll always get a little bit of filament. You can see there's a teeny bit right there. You want to keep this as clean as possible. This is so that your tool that comes bundled with the extruder fits. So we want to make sure that we have proper clearance for this tool to fit so you can remove your nozzle. So we're going to take that off too. Very low pressure. You barely hear the Dremel bog down at all. I'm not doing anything there. I'm just touching it. And don't worry about the finish on this. It'll all come right back. If you want to hit the whole unit, you can. You can see it comes out brushed. I'm not using heavy pressure. And of course, and I say this openly, just make sure everything is nice and clean. You do not want this area once again to get caked up with filament, or you will be here for, literally, you could be here for a couple hours trying to correct it. Just touching everything up. Light touch, just kissing it with the brush. You can see just how this looks. And again, we have a more of a brush look naturally than a polished look. We'll change that. And that's done. Okay, now we're done with this. Take and remove this from the chuck. Let's hang that back up. Let's see what we got. Okay, that looks great. That's exactly what we want to have. Now what we want to do, and again, the end of the unit, if you keep up with this extruder, you're never going to have any buildup of filament over here. You should never have any of that. You also want to watch pocketing, where the filament will creep into this space right here, and that throws your tolerance off to your nozzle. Now, it's not too big of a deal because when the method actually calibrates, it'll adjust for the spacing, but we do want this area clean. That's best practice, so we'll follow suit with that all the way through. Take our safety glasses off. We don't need them anymore. And we're going to follow suit with applying some polish. Do that carefully, and again, we're using our cut Q-tips, nothing major here. I am going to turn the speed way down on our Dremel. There we go. We're all set there. Applying polish is very simple. I'm using flits once again, just a teeny bit. That's actually too much. And now we're just going to come over here and just rub. Just hit. And you'll get just a dark haze, and you can see how that dark haze is coming out. Now, some of you are lucky enough to have the plastic shroud cover that goes over the extruder. I've seen it on previous methods. Mine did not come with it. If you have that, that's fine too. I still would recommend doing the polishing, but that's my own preference. Just protects the metal, and it does make it look real pretty. I'm going to do this. I'm just rubbing it in a little bit. Now, I have some guys that will say that's really going overboard as far as doing that. And again, to each his own. I take very good care of my equipment because usually it takes very good care of me, and that's just something I've been taught with, growing up. So again, everybody's different. And that's perfect. We got a nice coating on there. You can see it's starting to turn black. You're not trying to do any real polishing with this. You're just trying to break that surface area. And that's really what we want. Now, I also see some filament that got left over, and that you may find that too. Don't panic. Just revert back to your brush, and you can take that right off as well. Even with polish on there, it's not going to do anything. Now, I recommend wearing safety goggles. I'm not going to put mine on for this and live on the edge a little bit. You see that little bit? I'm going to try to get that right off. I think we got it. You can see the polish is actually even working with the stainless brush, but that little bit of filament is gone. And just that fast. So the other thing I'm going to tell you guys, and this isn't really discussed that much on YouTube, is try to keep your area neat that you're working in. I see a lot of guys that get kind of crazy in their area space, and you have things everywhere and they're working, and for me it just creates more confusion. I don't know how everybody else works, but that's the way I work. Now we're going to remove the polish, and I'm just using the Q-tip, and I'm using virtually no pressure at all. And you see the Q-tip starting to turn a little black. There's one. The key here, of course, not using pressure. I'm not trying to manhandle, so to speak, the Q-tip. I let the Q-tip do the work with the power of the Dremel. Try to keep your hands steady, jig them on the desk. You'll get some awesome results. Now, I'm not trying to get a really heavy, super glossy shine. Some guys may be trying to do that. You can use sandpaper on here if you really want to get crazy. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to clean the nozzle. So I can tell you right now, if you hit this with 60 grit, go up to like 1500 grit, you will get a very, very high gloss shine. The problem is trying to maintain it is where things get hairy. For this application, it's just not beneficial. Okay, got our buff going. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up just slightly on RPM, because I've got some, you can see I actually have a little buildup of the polish, and therefore it makes the Q-tip a little more resilient. And now I can just sit here and just lay that and let it just burnish it slightly. There we go. Just letting that Dremel do its job. And I know what many of you are saying, I didn't do the front end of the extruder yet, and I have not. Do that next. Just hit this. The residual from this will enlighten this up just nice, meaning the residual polish. Now you can also, if you're careful, just go in here slightly to the hot end, and you can clean and polish right where the nozzle gets inserted. I'm not using any pressure, I'm just letting the Q-tip do its job. And you will polish all of that out. You can see what you're left with. It comes out beautiful. It really does. So we're looking good. I'm going to hit the screw hole too, just very easy. Do not press because you have threads in there. And those threads will actually grab the Q-tip, so we don't want to do that. Yeah, looks good. Ooh. And there we go. You can see inside now, that hot end. She looks inside there. You can see just how clean that is. So everything there is looking as it should. This looks fantastic. And again, if you want, you can hit this with another coat. You can go over it again. Just do a real light touch of it. Usually do 2 coats. And again, just use the same Q-tip. You don't got to go crazy. That residual is all you need. And you'll see huge results. Touch. Touch. You see our Q-tip is starting to get kind of funky. It's okay. Low pressure shouldn't cause any problems. Okay, let me see if I can use the towel to clean that up. Just come over here. You should be able to see it shortly. This is just taking any residual off. You should be good. Because again, the big thing about the Q-tip, it's just going to break that surface tension and really work in that polish so it can remove any residue and of course clean that metal. That's what we want. We want any of that oxidation to come off. Because again, these are aluminum, of course. Just hitting it. And there you go. Right back to brand new. And you can see it. There you go. Now, final step is our set screw. I'm going to show you something here, really cool. You can take your Dremel carefully. You don't want to destroy your threads. Just chalk it up in the Dremel. There you go. It's chucked. Once that's done, let's get our towel out of the way. Like I said, we'll stay clean. We got a little residual polish on here, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our Dremel, full speed. I'm just going to hit it with the Q-tip. And that Q-tip's polish is going to residually just pretty much bring this right back to life. Now I know I'm going to have some guys out there say, what if it's really caked on and what if I have... You can do the same method using our Scotch-Brite and just go over the screw. And the friction and the heat from the Scotch-Brite will naturally polish and remove any of the debris. I don't need to tell you, I shouldn't need to tell you that the screw threads on this screw should be immaculate so that they can go into the hot end block with very, very little resistance. And I am adding a little bit of pressure, not much. I'm just letting this go. And I believe we're good. Just hit this. You should be able to see it. Right back to brand new. Got some heat there. And you can see that's brand new now. We're ready to go. So now, take our Torx and get this all set. Now for the final step, and this is the one that's going to take a little practice, and that's to install our new clean extruder nozzle with its butterfly wings inside the extruder itself. And how we're going to do this, very careful, you're going to get all of those little wings set and grouped, and you're going to want to go inside this hole in one shot, just like this. And what you're going to find is that those little wings are going to separate. So what you're going to want to do is get yourself something sharp, a probe, so to speak. If you have soldering probes, I do a lot of soldering as an engineer, so I have a lot of probes, but this one is very small. What I do is I lay the tip right there, and if she can catch it, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. I'm just laying this on the edge, and I'm slowly rotating the nozzle until they all feather inside, and you'll see it'll just fall in. If I can do this just right. Okay guys, I'm just finessing, and again I'm using the tip, and I've got it in, and now you can see as I go to insert this, our wings are right here. You're going to fold them out. You want these to be folded out and you can see they're in perfect condition, so we can get our spacer. And I'm rotating it so that it will go in. See how that actually fits? And there's that one right there that's going to fold out by itself as soon as I put pressure. You can see how it folds, and you can see the wings are now folded out. I'll see if I can get some light in there. There you go. You can see the wings are folded out, and now what's going to happen is I apply pressure. That's going to give me proper spacing, and we're all set. Now, you do not want to press on the nozzle holding the plastic shroud. It puts excess force on it. You want to grab the metal and do it. Apply very clean force. You don't want to do anything abruptly. And now once that nozzle is seated, and you can see it is, see how nice and clean it is, this looks beautiful. We're all set. Now we'll apply our set screw. Joanna's just readjusting the camera. We're just going to come over here and just screw it in. Once again, not ridiculously tight. Come in and press, and you're done. That's it. Now we polish off, make sure all this looks good, and you've got a brand new nozzle. Now, I'm going to tell you guys my personal preference when it comes to when to clean the nozzle. I have certain people that will always ask me, you know, what's my procedure as far as doing preventative maintenance on my machines. I like to do preventative maintenance on the nozzle after maybe 40 hours of use. And why I say 40 hours of use, if you keep up with that level of cleanliness, and you can see here what we've got, see how nice and new this looks. You keep up with that level of cleanliness, you never have anything to worry about. And again, you can see, if you go to insert this tool to remove the nozzle, you're right on. Nice and clean, brand new, and you have nothing to worry about. And that's what you want to have. When you go to print with something like this, you already know that there's no debris on here going to cause any problems. When calibration is done, there's no debris on here going to cause any offset variance. You've got a new nozzle, guys. And that's how easy it is. Like I said, 40 hours, if you're maintaining your nozzle, just what you saw mine was, you saw how fast this was. And I did this all in real time, so you guys are set. I hope it's answered many of your questions. And best of all, you'll have the longevity of your extruders that far exceed that of what I even think Makerbot would have expected. So I'd love to hear your comments. Please like and subscribe. Take care.